I'm about to show you how to set up your DJI Pocket 2 to do 4K time lapse just like this. So, you have a DJI Pocket 2, but guess what? It does time lapse, but only in 1080p. Like what? It does everything else, 4K video and stills, now even HDR video. What about time lapse? Well, I'll show you some steps. First off, you'll need a tripod. And you need a USB battery pack or charger if you're shooting for long periods of time. A USB-C cable, SD card with space, as the raw files will take 24 megabytes. Adobe Lightroom and Final Cut. I won't be showing you steps 5 and 6, but if you want, make comments in the video and I'll show you what I did. Some storage space on your editing device like a Mac or PC, and of course the DJI MIMO app. Alright, let's get started. In the MIMO app, what you want to do is go to the time-lapse settings and then click on the three dots on the bottom left-hand corner. Down in the format section, you want to change from video to raw and video. That means it'll do both raw files and video. What I want to do here is a custom time-lapse, not the native left to right, right to left, or fixed angle. I want to do my own custom motion. So what I'm going to do next is go all the way to the left without showing any of the building obstructions, and then click on the plus to show my leftmost point. Now I'm going to drag that all the way to the right to show where I want the right hand of this video to end. I think that's good. Now I'll hit the plus. Now the last step is to set your exposure. I went from manual to auto and set my max ISO to 1600. Even though I set 1600, most of the photos were recorded in 3200. Alright, now let's confirm our settings. A 3-hour duration, 10-second interval. Let's record. See, now the gimbal goes in its place and starts from the left. Alright, now back to my Mac. Now we're in Finder. I have the original 1080p copy of the video recorded. Here it is. As you can see, it's 1920 by 1080. Doesn't look so bad. Great for any YouTube, but I want 4K. So now the DJI Pocket will create a time-lapse photo with all your DNG files in it. These are your raw photos, each of 24 megabytes in size. As you can see, the resolution is 4608 by 2592. It is a 16:9 aspect ratio, but still too big for 2160p, which is 4K. Here's what the photo looks like in its raw format. Kind of noisy, and I had to remove the noise out of these photos, so it's just too grainy. As you can see, the buildings are noisy, the sky is noisy, the stars are noisy. I wasn't too happy with that. With the regular DJI Pocket app, it will just record that noise and you have no choice but to keep the noise in there. Now what I did, and I could always show you a full video how I did it. Here's a before and after of the photos. I resized them using Lightroom. Now they're at that 2160p, which is 4K, and this is the after. I removed the noise as well. The before, I'll open that up. Let's do a side-by-side comparison. Here, let me bring up the before and after. The after is a JPEG because you'll need a JPEG. Now look at the before. Noisy, grainy. I even adjusted the colors a bit and exposure. Now look at the after, very clear. Look at the stars are sharp, the sky is sharp, the buildings are sharp. You would never get that opportunity if you just did a native DJI time lapse. Now, you can also see that it is a 3200 ISO. Remember earlier I set it to 1600? Still set it to 32. Now, here's what your 1080p time-lapse will look like right out of camera. Kind of noisy. Now let's switch over to the 4K. After some editing, remove the noise and adjusted the exposure. Much clearer, much brighter, much sharper. Now let's do a side-by-side comparison of the 1080 and 4K. I find the 4K so much sharper. Now look at the close-up of the buildings, the windows, the lights for Christmas, even the crane. So there is a crane down in the distance, very sharp, very clear. Look at the red Christmas lights, so much better on the 4K version. Now here's the final time lapse. Enjoy.